Another guy,
Since
big stuff
it's a
up,
new
really.
season and we're doing new things, I thought maybe I would participate a bit more this season, and
Yeah, definitely.
I've decided to back someone, guys. So
Oh, fuck off.
Get the fuck out.
it's got a gun. I'm the American. It's got a big gun.
Right.
Of course
Do you
I
know
went
what?
with them. I haven't watched a single game. I don't know a single player, but it's got a big gun. So this is it. Go Arsenal.
Yeah.
Horse. It's in the name.
On that note, welcome back everyone to watch more football. It's a brand new season, but we're still here on the Genreverse Sports YouTube channel, so please check us out on there. You'll find all our old shows from when we started, all covering the last season, right through the Euros. All that content's on there. We have been off for a few weeks. I think the last time we recorded, I vowed that I would not be back if England won the Euros, and the guys were saying, you need to blah blah blah. What happened was England lost the Euros, and then the boys didn't want to turn up the next week themselves, and then we all had holidays after that to go on at different times. So we just decided to kind of start afresh with a brand new season. The Premier League kicks off this coming Friday night is the first game. Then Saturday, Sunday, and one game on. Is there a Monday game? Yeah, there is. There's a Monday game. So match day one of the Premier League season. We're going to be covering it right for the start. And there's a few things that we're going to do differently this season as well that I'll get to. First of all, I did mention the Genreverse Sports channel, but just while you're on there, you can also take a look at our Genreverse channel, which is our main channel that covers all entertainment news. Our producer, Kel, handles most of the stuff on there, and you'll find lots of content if you're interested in anime, comic book stuff. It's all there. You'll find similar content to that in written format on our website, which is lrmonline.com. I'm one of the writers over there, so you'll see articles, stories written by me, reviews, that kind of content as well. But this is all about sports, and it's specifically about the Premier League. And we're not frightened to admit we're all biased for our own teams. I won't give you too many guesses about which team Mick and I support. It's the brave Newcastle United. Ryan is unfortunately a Manchester United fan. Kyle has decided he's an Arsenal fan because they have a gun on their logo.
Typical American.
And also
just American things. That's
America.
Yeah.
If they win the league this season, we can call them a dirty glory supporter. So that's
small.
I mean, we could get away with that. That's a good point. But we are missing one of our cohort today, which is Dave. He couldn't make it today. But he sends his absolute disgust
the
way things are going in his team at the moment.
Yeah, he's having his medical at Chelsea, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's
going to be signing number 355 of the summer.
He got a letter in the post saying
he
he called up.
Professional cameraman for all the signings to catch images of them and the way in and out the door. But yeah, we'll get to that because he has left us a few thoughts, and he hopefully will be back next week. But never know. There are sometimes certain shows when one of us can't make it. Usually I'm here though. Yeah, just saying. Anyway, where were we going to start? So I'm here with, as I said, Ryan and Mick, and we'll get producer Kyle in the background as well. Ryan's a Man United fan. Just try to check our thing here. So we're on a new season, guys, and the first thing I thought that we would take a look at is our predictions for the season as a whole. So we don't have any previous predictions to go on. There is obviously, if anybody watched our old episodes, Cheatgate happened. Basically, who won? Kyle won.
My dad.
Kyle won the fair one,
and
Ryan's dad won the cheating one. And that's all there is to really say about that, to be honest.
I missed a whole day.
But we are starting fresh with a new one that you, as viewers,
you've got a big
join
gun.
in if you want. Sorry? Would you say what?
I said he missed a whole day. I said, well, yeah, you've got a big gun.
So, yeah, what I thought is we'd start off with our table predictions, which we as a group of friends have always done, was let's predict the table for the end of the year. And then hilariously at the end of that year, look at how bad that we got those predictions, because what you always do is you base it on where everybody finished last year, plus a couple of new signings, and you go up and down a little bit. But there's usually bigger changes than that, and there'll always be surprises and somebody that you're not expecting. So yeah, if Kel, you could bring that up on the screen for us at the moment and show our table predictions.
I can't even remember what I predicted.
That's a good point. I can't actually remember, but I know the beats. I know the biggest beats anyway. I think we all went for the same champions, I believe.
No, we didn't. Ryan went for Arsenal.
I went for Arsenal.
Oh, did you go Arsenal this year? I went Arsenal last year and I get fed up. You know, once they let me down, I went back to City again. They
always get the pocket picked.
Were you the only one that went Arsenal? Yeah. I think everybody else went City. We're probably for a thumbnail for this image, I've got a picture of Arteta and Guardiola, because really the last 2 seasons, if you like, that's been the main rivalry at the top of the Championship, the Arsenal versus Man City. So, I mean, the question is, honest, where does it go this year? So do we think, I mean, I'll let you go on in a minute, Mick, but do we think it is still a 2-way title race between these two this year?
Yeah. I think Arsenal has strengthened again. They've got Calafiori in defence, who's going to sort out their left side. They're looking at getting Mikel Merino in their midfield. That's going to help them out. They maybe still need another forward. But I think they're strengthening and they're tightening up the areas that sort of let them down last season. City haven't really done much strengthening. They've signed Savio from their conglomerate of clubs
so far.
Yeah, they've got a few kids that they're coming through to rely on, and we'll see how they get on. But I think they've got a couple of holes in their midfield, in their team, and a lot of the players that they rely on are getting older as well, like De Bruyne and Walker. Are getting on a bit now, and can they do another season of 90-odd points?
Don't need them. They've got Rodri. They don't lose. No, but also what you've got to remember is with these charges, they could end up with a hefty points deduction.
Yeah.
Was it? I don't know. Did I not hear a rumor today that, or did one of you not post something that Sky Sports had said that if there's a decision made that there wouldn't be any notification?
I posted that.
Something like that.
I posted that. Yeah.
So the hearing starts.
Still, it could be the end of it.
Starts next month.
The hearing starts next month, and although we're not going to get a public decision, we're not even going to get any decision until the new year. There is going to be stuff coming out from that hearing that gets leaked out, and if Pep's fielding questions on that every week, it might wind him up. And obviously, Pep's on the last year of his contract, and he's publicly not decided what he's going to do yet.
Especially as that he's always been very much, I've been told everyone's above board, so if something comes out that's looking as if that they are going to get found guilty of something, it might put him under a bit of pressure.
I don't think he's going to learn anything in this hearing that he doesn't already know, to be honest.
Nah.
I'm kind of with you on that. I'm kind of with you on that. I don't think he gives 2 shits. But I think if he would use it, if they do get relegated or something like that, he would use it as an excuse to, that's why I'm leaving, so I'm leaving.
Well, I mean, he's got his excuse. His contract's done, and whether he wins the league or not this season, he's completed football at City. There's nothing really for him to do now.
Pretty much. I think if he had one focus this year, being that it might be his final year, I think it also might be to rest players and go for the Champions League again rather than maybe winning the league. Because they've set such an incredible standard that I was talking about this with people on social media. To win the league, you've got to win so many games and be consistently good for so long that I think it makes our teams suffer a little bit in the Champions League in the later stages.
Yeah. And what City have done as well is they've shifted the bar for winning the league by a good 10 points over the course of the season. You know, you'd win the league with sort of the high 70s, early 80s, and now you've got to get 90 points in a season to have any chance. I think the only other thing that will be left for him to do this season is if he just ignores the Cups, ignores Europe, and tries to do an invincible season in the league.
That's
Whether he would accept losing a cup match to preserve an unbeaten record in the league, I don't know.
I don't think he would necessarily want to lose it, but I think he would be willing to persevere with a team of kids, for example, if he was getting beaten, just hope that he can coach them through to win it, because they've got such good kids that they could probably get away with that, and they could probably still win those cups, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
mean, certainly they can walk through the group stage of the Champions League, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you would like to think so anyway. With the way the seeding works these days. I don't know, you make some good points, Ryan, that I hadn't considered. You've analysed this far more, than I had when I was picking my teams. I just went for Arsenal last year, never going for City again. That was it.
For all I've just waffled on it for a couple of minutes, it was 100% what would I like to see happen realistically, and United aren't going to win it, so the next best thing is Arsenal.
Well. But then last year you did go for City despite, Arsenal being a potential. Yeah. But I do see what you're saying. My one thing against Arsenal, if we're talking about them, is that so far, when you look at Arsenal last year, they had the best defence in the league. That was their best aspect. Very difficult to beat. They sometimes didn't score a lot of goals. Their goals were spread around the team, but they didn't have one traditional goal scorer, and they still don't really have a striker. They haven't addressed that. They've spent a sizable transfer fee so far on Calafiori. I'm sure he'll be a great player, but I'm not seeing. It kind of doesn't make sense to me. They already had the best defence.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me when you've got Saliba and Gabriel
forward. So I think the thinking is he's going to play. He's going to be like a left back, a centre back playing left back in the same way they've got Ben White on the right. I think Calafiori is going to be that left back because they weren't happy with Zinchenko defensively, and they had Kivior out there who wasn't really doing much attacking wise, and Calafiori sort of does both.
That makes a bit more sense, actually. Yeah, if that's the tactical, if they're going to do the City thing and like what Gavardiol does on the left for City is what we're kind of talking about.
And it's what he was doing. It's what he was doing for Bologna last season as well, apparently. But I mean, the big thing on Calafiori is he's had one season where he's been relevant, and even then, for all Bologna had a really good season last season, he was completely not on my radar in terms of what I was hearing about them. And then all of a sudden he has
of the Euros.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people were raving about him at the Euros. He had a half decent Euros. He obviously he set up the goal that put Italy through. But again, I don't know.
Italy if you look at Italy's history in competitions, it's built on a strong defence. If we look back at this team, we'll look at it as a weak Italy defence compared to all the previous Italy defences. That's all I see.
I mean, it is.
He's
part
no
of that is
Cannavaro or anything like that.
Part of that is
they lost Chiellini.
Yeah, they lost Chiellini and Bonucci, and it doesn't matter who you have coming in after them; they're never going to look as good, are they?
Nah.
But there's always a change. I mean, this guy could go on to be that as the next great Italian defence. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the guy's not got potential. It's just, I never saw anything at the Euros to make me think, what a standard
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Well,
so that's the top two, and I think
that's still the same thing as though they haven't got that striker.
Yeah.
They haven't got that natural goal scorer yet.
That's it, and I think it could hurt them potentially, but we'll see. I think we all agree it is between those two, and we've went that way. Even Kyle has as well, I'm pretty sure, even though he didn't do a tables prediction because, it's kind of not relevant. He is going to do the scoreline predictions with us, though.
Arsenal all the way.
This year. Yeah.
this year's your year, Kyle.
Even he would know to put City as two.
Hey, Kyle, just because they've got a big gun on the badge.
What's that?
Just because they've got a big gun on the badge, they still can't shoot for shit.
I mean,
that is one of the
British
issues at the moment.
Neither can Americans at the minute, can they?
I'm going to keep my mouth shut because I said something wrong there.
No, I was talking about the Olympics.
Oh, right, you were talking about the
Olympics. Nice cover there. On that, did you guys see the Turkish guy that just showed up in flip flops and shorts?
Yeah.
Just put his hand in his pocket and you got a silver medal.
He took silver because it would have been too suspicious if he had actually gotten gold.
Everyone else coming out like they've just come out of Cyberpunk convention and.
I didn't see that. So I really don't.
Really,
I like some of the sprint races and stuff like that, but I'm not that into watching the Olympics.
The only thing I've really seen is the photos on social media of him just standing there, hand in his pocket, gun in hand, just shooting. It was just like, what?
No, I think I maybe did see that actually, just as when I was browsing, but I never paid much attention.
It's just silver fox.
Anyway, so that's our top two. We all agree on that. If we look at our tables again going forward, we then have this big mix of teams that you could really go anyway with, which is Liverpool were kind of dragging into that pile this year because they've got a new manager, and you just never know what happens with a new manager.
Going that way. I'm not going that way. I've got Liverpool 5th.
Well, no, but that's what I'm still saying. They're in that group of pile of people, like when we looked at the Opta stats and stuff like that. But you are going in the lower scale of that. You think they'll have a poor season by their standards anyway. But I was thinking the next set of teams in the mix. I'm thinking Liverpool, Spurs, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Man United. Am I missing in Chelsea? That's the big.
I've got Villa ninth.
So have I. I think Arsenal and City are the clear top two. The rest of that top 10 could end up in any order this season.
Yeah, I agree.
To be honest, I think I've got Chelsea high and I wanted them. I wanted West Ham above them. West Ham have done really well in the market so far.
Yeah, they're really
strengthened really well.
Everybody keeps saying, right, West Ham have done well, because we'll just go where the conversation goes. So we're on to West Ham, right? Everybody says they've done great in the transfer market. Let's go through their signings, right? So today they just signed Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who Man United can't wait to get rid of because he's done nothing with them at all for 4 years. So
apart from the
only reason he's going to West Ham is because nobody better wanted him.
He's locked down Sterling, defender. He's locked down Mbappe, he's locked down Doku, he's locked down Neymar.
Jamal Lascelles locked down Mbappe. Do you want Jamal Lascelles? I mean, honestly, you look at it that way and you can always pick that people can have great games. And that's the one thing Aaron Wan-Bissaka could do. If you want somebody to man-mark somebody, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is great at that. But a team like Man United, or even West Ham when they're playing teams theoretically smaller than them, don't necessarily want to go and man-mark somebody all the time. Yeah. And that's where Bissaka falls short for me.
The interesting thing is, they've signed Jean-Claire Todibo from Nice, who was the original centre-back target for United.
That could be a good sign, and I get that.
He's highly rated. They've got Crescencio Somerville from Leeds.
That's another good sign.
Yeah, well... Is it?
Yeah.
How often? It might be. He might be one of these players that comes into the Premier League, can't cut it, and is crap, and is straight back down in the Championship or away to France or Holland or something like that.
I mean, the interesting thing is,
he'd done well in the Euros when he came on for Germany, didn't he, Fulkrug?
Yeah. I thought you were talking about
really well.
I thought we were on what's his name, so we've moved on to Fulkrug now. Again, I said, and I think even in the Euros, I said that guy would do well in the Premier League. He's a Premier League player that would have done well in the 90s. I'm not so sure if that player still fits the Premier League now. Think, you know what I mean?
The interesting thing is, the signings that West Ham have made all really suit David Moyes. You've got a really good defensive right back. You've got a big lump of a centre back. You've got a lightning quick winger, and you've got a big lump up front, and that's all Moyes ball. And then you've got, I mean, the midfield is going to be interesting for them because you've got that front three, because you've got Bowen as well on the other side. Are they going to have Alvarez as like a single holder and then just let Paquetá and Kudus do whatever the hell they want?
I think they're guessing that Paquetá won't be, that Mr. Crisps will not be there for very much longer.
Well, no,
would be my guess.
But while you've got him, you've got to use him because he's that good. and Kudus as well.
Kind of, but you have to also build a team that can that and a style of play that can work without him, because the chances are, if he does, and obviously it's alleged and all that sort of stuff, these betting offences, but his betting offences are not the same betting offences that Tonali had, or
Tony.
what's his name, Tony had, which was they bet on football, but just for the love of betting. There was no cheating going on or anything like that, you know, and there's none of that, and that's been proved. If he gets found guilty, it's a completely different kettle of fish.
He's done.
He loses his personality.
Yeah,
you know, he could go to jail, and he is guaranteed to be banned for life from football.
Yeah, because you know, it's he intentionally got booked a few times. Is the allegation, and the video that I've seen of these alleged bookings, there's a couple of challenges there that are really sort of endangering a fellow pro in order to match fix, and that is, I mean, that's
what
thing,
it felt like to me. But again, it could just be coincidence, though. So.
You know, there was that one when Tonali got banned for gambling that went round where he was being subbed off and he took an absolute age to get subbed off, and then as soon as he was booked, he ran off, and they were saying, "Oh, that's in match fixing." It's not a great look, but it's a lot better than going in 2-footed on someone on the hour mark.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I know.
But that's the thing, though.
One of the ones where he chased somebody and just, you know.
Yeah.
Tonali never bet on himself. He bet
on
Newcastle.
He bet on his team to win. He bet on his teams to win, never to lose.
Yeah.
He bet on.
He never bet on himself to be books, nothing like that.
To win.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, they're not saying that Paquetá bet on himself. What they're saying is basically
other people did.
Paquetá's denying it. You know, he has to.
Yeah.
You know, there's no defence.
Yeah, they're saying, you know, a bunch of his mates basically were running match fixing, and it was like, right, Lucas, we need you to get booked on 53 minutes. Can you do that? And he's like, yeah, fine.
I mean, if he admits it, he's done. You know, he might not go to jail if he admits it and comes up front, but he's been done. And all I'm saying is, now this could take a whole year to happen, and they've got him for a full year, in which, fair enough. I just think I looked at West Ham's signings today, and I thought half of them could be flops easily. We could be sitting here and calling them flops
say that about anybody,
the season, or they could be signings of the season. I just don't know.
Yeah.
So
I'm really looking forward to Füllkrug, not because I think he's going to go banging 30 goals for West Ham, but I just think he's going to be fun to watch for West Ham this season. Whichever way it goes, if he starts putting in the goals, it's going to be brilliant.
It's going to be funny when he comes up against the likes of Dunk and Big Dan, Burn and all that, the big boys, do you know what I mean, at the back and stuff like that. It might be quite fun, actually. But yeah, I see what you're saying. So yeah, everybody, so you guys have dragged Villa away down. I know Villa, I kind of am with you in terms of, I think that they're a weaker team potentially, but yeah, I saw them in Sky Sports getting talked about as like they've made really good signings this window and stuff like that, and I'm like,
I've never heard of any.
You know?
So I
haven't heard of any Villa signings.
So they sold Douglas Luiz, who was their best midfielder.
Yeah.
And they did it in a swap cash and players deal with Juventus. And originally it was going to be Weston McKennie and some young winger.
Mm-hmm.
But instead it's some. I mean, Weston McKennie was underwhelming himself as a replacement, but they've gone for some other guy whose name I can't remember. But yeah, just haven't really. Yeah, they haven't replaced Douglas Luiz well, I don't think. Diaby's gone to Saudi after a season. They've got Ian Maatsen in from Chelsea. To be fair,
I don't mind that one though, because he never cut it. He didn't perform. I think they took a. You know what? It's a bit like you're not good enough.
He started well, but by the end of the season, he got kicked out by the guy who was brought in to replace, which is
barely.
But I don't see that as being them strengthening. You know.
Yeah, so. The big one is they've signed Ian Maatsen from Chelsea, and that's a clear upgrade for them at left back, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I
still think they're a good team. I do not see them getting Champions League this year. I'll be surprised. Well, they've already got the Champions League to try and compete, and we found out how difficult that was last year. Now, they might get a much better. They might not get any injuries, and they got a better run at us. They might get a better draw. All of that could happen.
I mean, obviously, the thing is,
see them getting top 4 next year.
The thing is, and we'll talk about it more in future episodes. I'm guessing is the new Champions League format. So they're not going to get a team of group of 4 teams that they play.
I guess it doesn't work like that.
They've got 8 matches against, so they're going to play a couple of top tier teams. They're going to play a Real Madrid and a Bayern Munich, and then they're going to sort of have a couple of games against the minnows. So that
they'll have a year earlier.
Yeah, they're going to have. They're not going to get a group of death situation. Basically, that's sort of been removed.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Still, it's the travel, it's the game time, and exactly. I don't think they've suddenly built.
And also, so that phase as well, because they've added 2 extra games. That doesn't end until like February now, so it really does impact the season because
and then, if you get through to the knockouts, that starts at the end of February, the end of March. So they're not getting much break.
Yeah, no. I think they would have to have a really bad time of it to not get to the knockouts, but then it's all about how well they do in terms of do they get the round off or do they get a good draw, and I think they'll struggle.
Yeah,
with that.
and where are they in the league at that point?
Also, there's also reports that if Fulham don't get Anderson from Palace, they're going to go for Diego Carlos from Villa.
I think they've been in talks with Diego Carlos for quite a while.
Now that would be depleting Villa quite bad because Diego Carlos played quite a lot for that Villa last season and done really well.
Yeah, see what happens. But in terms
I'm trying
of
to think who else Villa have signed.
If we look before we look at our teams that are part of that mix, other big team that we've maybe not talked about, I would say Spurs. I think Dominic Solanke is an upgrade on Richarlison. I don't really rate Richarlison.
Yeah.
I still don't really know, but Spurs, I don't think they're quite good enough to go top 4.
Solanke's a lot of money for a player who's had one season, because Solanke was there at half the price a year ago when Kane went, and there wasn't even a suggestion that anyone was going to go for him. And he's had a 20-goal season, and all of a sudden,
but he has experience though. He has played Premier League football, albeit at a younger age. He's went to the Championship and scored goals, and now he's come back up. You kind of just feel he's improved his game now. And you look at his game, he will score goals. I think for a Premier League team, and I
think as well
he would score.
I think as well he really suits what Spurs are trying to do.
I kind of think so as well. I think he is a good signing for them. You can quibble on the price; it's whatever they're willing to pay, and so on and so forth. But so I think they have improved slightly, but I still don't suddenly see them jumping into being they'll be the top 4 next year. I don't know. We'll see. No. Shall we talk about our teams then?
Yeah.
How long we got?
Well, not too long. So, but you can start off if you want, Mick. You can start off in Newcastle, where we think they're going to be. Obviously, we've seen our table things, but talking about where you think we're going to end up in our transfer business for this summer, etc.
To be honest, we know we need a centre back and a right winger. I don't know what's happening with Gahey, Dale. We've given them 3 offers, and reportedly the 3rd offer has been rejected for 55 million plus 5 million add-ons. I think that's as far as we should go. 60 million is a lot of money for him. Yes, he's had a really good Euros. He is a good player. He's only 24. But for 60 million, we could go and get Theo from AC Milan for half that price and give that extra onto the right wing. Because if we go and spend 60 million on Gahey, we're not leaving ourselves very much to go and get this right winger, if anything.
I kind of agree with you there. We did talk about this offline and stuff like that as well. And, obviously there was a video from the Crystal Palace chairman the day that seemed to indicate that they want 65 million, we're like 5 million short or something like that. And I know some fans will think, well, just, Newcastle's really rich, pay the extra 5 million. But you have to look at that we had to sell 2 players to meet PSR regulations at the end of the PSR window, if you like. 2 players we did not want to sell. Young prospects that we wanted to keep, and we had to sell them just to satisfy that and keep our bigger players, or else we'd have had to go and sell a Gordon or an Isaac or a Bruno.
Exactly what I was just going to say.
Yeah. So I think you just get to a point where if it's too dear, it's too dear. You need to move on.
It came to the point where we nearly sold Gordon. It come to the point where we nearly sold Gordon to Liverpool. If the Anderson bid never came in, Gordon would be a Liverpool player right now. And that's what we've got to avoid. This PSR whole, I'm not getting into all that because we haven't got time, but
I think on the PSR thing, for all you guys are sort of moaning about it, I think you did very well out of those 2 sales, to be honest. I know they're sort of I know they're prospects for the future, but you haven't weakened yourselves by getting rid of those players, I don't think.
Not necessarily, but they are
maybe could save you a signing on the right.
To get ready.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have kept Minty, we would have loaned him out, but a year in the Premier League loaned it to Brighton or something like that, and then he comes back and he's banged in 10 goals, and suddenly he's worth 65 million.
You're saying we wouldn't have kept him.
Well, we don't need a right winger anymore. So.
But the thing is, you're saying we wouldn't have kept him. Before all this came out, we were saying we're going to keep him for pre-season and see how he got on. If he had a good pre-season, we would have kept him.
And he did have a good pre-season for Brighton by all accounts as well.
He scored 3 goals in 5 games.
Yeah.
No, not as good as Murphy, who got 5 goals in 5 games.
No, and that's we talked about, though, that doesn't necessarily mean Murphy's the new Messi regen, though, because Murphy does this every pre-season, and some players just do that.
Doesn't mean that.
I've not really seen a lot of Minty play. I've seen a little bit of him play for Feyenoord, and he was okay, but but I didn't want to sell him because you were hoping that he'll come through and become a good player for us, and I didn't want to sell Anderson because I liked him. I thought he was a good player and he had a future. So
this Almiron thing as well with Charlotte FC from the MLS have come over. I've been having talks with our representatives about Almiron. They've offered $10 million, which we've turned down because we want closer to 20 million. And Charlotte FC were also over here doing a medical with the Feyenoord player Calvin Stengs. And the medical was all passed and everything, but now it looks like Charlotte FC have pulled out after we've rejected that bid from Almiron. So is that so they've got extra funds to go back in for Almiron?
Well, look, Almiron is a big signing for them because he's got a name in America. That's the thing. Almiron came from America. He was Atlanta star player. Yeah. I nearly went to say Atalanta there, which is Italy. Just football, my brain just went there rather than Atlanta, which I associate with America and movies more. I don't know, he was really the biggest player. We spent 20 million odds a few years ago now, obviously, to go and buy him.
I think you got your money's worth out of him, definitely.
Yeah, the best thing about what he's done is shut Grealish up last season, the beginning of last season, wasn't it? Was last season or the season before? When he went on that 2 months.
The season before, he had a great his peak season for us. But it's time for him to go. And you're right that
definitely.
But I think $10 million, which is, what did you work it as? 7.7
million.
I think we can get a bit more for. I'd like to think we can get a bit more for that.
Offer 16, 17 million.
League quality player, He
could do a job for
Champions
League experience.
He could do a job for a Premier League team, I still think. So, I think we need
if they come back with, say, 16, 17 million dollars, then maybe have a look at it and say,
just bear in mind that I think 16, 17 million dollars or like something like that is the transfer record for the MLS at the moment. So I read seen one report that's saying if we had to get what we want from it would break the transfer record over there, which you don't do. I don't know
but
do that for Miguel
that's because but that's because all their biggest signings are aging European players.
Who are out 35-year-olds.
Yeah, this is an aging player as well, though.
He's only 30.
He does have a name.
He's
in
like
America,
a young pup compared to them.
That makes him attractive to them, I think. And he's fit. He's fit. He'll be great in that league still for another few years.
One thing I will say about Almiron is he'll run his socks off. He'll not stop. He'll give everything.
He's a good lad. He's a hard worker. He's just not quite good enough for us anymore. Nah. I got us in like 5th or something like that. Where did you put us, Mick?
5th.
5th, so you were agreeing. Where did you have us, Ryan? Lower than that, I'm assuming?
I had you 6th.
Or 7th? 6th.
Yeah, I had 6th, yeah.
I'd take that, to be honest.
Where did Dave put it?
Dave went 6 as well.
Fuck's sake, Dave.
If we have a worse season than that, then it wouldn't be too bad. But that would be my only goal league-wise this season, is to try and get back to Europe in some way or some fashion, whether it be conference.
I think you need to do that, because another season out of Europe and you're definitely losing Isaac and Bruno and Gordon, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
The thing is, we did get unlucky last season not to be in Europe. We finished in their places, just the way the cookie crumbles with the cups, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because of one team in particular just having an absolute disaster.
I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. Fuck you, Ryan.
Game. Anyway, on to your team, Ryan, which is Man United. I mean, you've just made a signing literally since we came on, just as we came on here.
2 signings.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming, I haven't seen the official on Mazraoui, but I'm assuming he's come as well.
Yeah, but
Mazraoui's been made official as well, so that's good too.
So Mazraoui and De Ligt, that is.
Yeah, that's right. Both from Bayern Munich for about 60 million euros all in. I'm looking forward to the season. I don't think it can get much worse than it did last season for us. Just everything went wrong last season, apart from the FA Cup final. If we can keep the core of players fit, I think we can finish top 4. What's really encouraged me is there's been talk basically since Christmas about how Ineos are going to put the new team in and they're going to do things differently, and it was very much a sort of wait and see what they do. They absolutely have done things differently this summer. They went really early for Xerxes. They went really early for Euro. They went in for
when they just agree to come to you right away, though. What I mean? That doesn't always happen.
But they went in for Jared Branthwaite right at the start of the window. He was going to be the big marquee defensive signing, and under the old regime, we'd have spent all summer chasing him and would have spent £80 million on him. Everton said they wanted 75 million, and we basically walked away straight away from that deal and didn't hear anything about him since, and that was really refreshing. And then obviously we've been trying to do this deal for De Ligt and Mazraoui, and again Bayern were quoting quite a high price, and we just sort of let things simmer for a bit and put the pressure on Bayern and went back in at the lower amount, and they've accepted that, and quite a few Bayern fans are not pleased with how that deal went from their perspective. So we've done well there. The biggest indication. To get rid of him, I
think there's only so much you can do. Yeah. You want rid of a player.
I mean, I just think
the world knows you want rid of a player.
And the proof of those signings would be in the pudding as well, because we've had promising windows in the past, but I just think the main indicator that sort of things are being done differently is, A, we're hearing about multiple deals being worked on at a time, which never used to happen. And B, on Saturday it came out that we'd agreed the deal for Mazraoui and De Ligt. And that was a couple of hours before you had all 4 of the new directors sat in the box at Wembley. So they were down in London, they knew Bayern were in London, thrashed out a deal, then went to Wembley. News is coming out as they're doing all their hospitality stuff, and it's just that just... It's really simple stuff, and it's really it's really.
Get what you mean? Like, we were impressed by simple stuff when we get the takeover. You know what I mean? Like stuff that's just day-to-day stuff that you should be doing that wasn't
cleaning the St James's Park roof.
Like cleaning the roof or training the. I remember watching the first training session and the players actually running, and I thought, this is interesting compared to Bruce. But
where's the weekends gone?
It's not been a perfect window because we still need a defensive midfielder, and stuff needs to happen for us to get one. And in an ideal world, we need to sign another left back because Shaw's already injured. Malacia's return from injury has been delayed, and I think we can't bank on either of them being fit to play a significant role this season. So Mazraoui can cover on the left, but obviously he's also got to cover on the right because we've lost Wan-Bissaka.
Although Dalot will start on the right.
What I would want to do, what I'd want to be able to do is have a set left back so that Shaw can take his time coming back, and then when Malacia's finally fit to play in like January, loan him out to see how he gets on. And just but I don't know that we got the budget to bring in a left back as well.
Yeah.
We're rumoured to be in for Mario Hermoso, who got released by Atletico Madrid in the summer, and he can play left centre back and he can play left back, and that would offer us a decent amount of cover, but I don't know how far along that is. But more than that, I think tactically we look a bit better. We're still sort of going with that 4-2-4 that we were doing at the end of last season, where even though we're pushing Bruno higher up the pitch, we're actually a lot more compact. Bruno and the entire front four are pressing a lot better. Mainu has been next to Toby Akolia and Casemiro in midfield, and they've had, I think, probably a more limited remit, so they can cover the ground a bit better. Ahmad has looked brilliant on the right wing. He had a good end to the season, and I think he's going to get a lot of game time this season. And we've got Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah.
You've got Ruud
van Nistelrooy. He'll bang in the goals.
We've got Ruud van Nistelrooy, and that on its own just makes me buzzing, because as I said in the
I get that.
As I said in the chat when he got announced, Ruud van Nistelrooy was when I first started watching United, he was the player. He was the guy, and he was the first player that I properly went, oh, he's amazing. So buzzing to have him back at the club.
Here's my kind of, not rebuttal, but where I would see as an outsider, because we've been here before. We Ryan predicted top four this year. With the year you signed Sancho and all that, that was it. It was going to be the
well, no. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. I was predicting us to win the title that summer, and
yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was.
I know your expectations aren't as high. Here's my.
We had finished second the season before, though.
I think you were a disaster last year unless you decided to play that there was a mental issue at that club. 95% of the team with those mental issues are all still there with the same manager. I think you've improved your defence. I think you'll be stronger defensively than you were last year. I don't think you've yet improved your midfield at all, which is where your main issue was, and your centre forward position, because I still don't think Højlund he's a good player, but he's not an elite player yet, and Man United are an elite team, and it takes sometimes somebody elite to get you into the top four. I think he's injured a lot as well, and honestly, I don't know that much about Xerxes. He's a young lad. He's a young lad with potential. Xerxes. I watched him again at the Euros and thought, and he was starting games, was he? But
no. So Xerxes a striker, but he's not really a number 9. Where we've been playing towards the back end of last season with the sort of 4-2-4, there's been like a clear false 9 role, and even against City in the Community Shield, we were playing 2 false 9s basically in Bruno and Mount. Xerxes is that false 9 player, so I could see the idea behind him is he's going to hold the ball up well, and ideally he's going to play in Rashford, Garnacho, Ahmad, whoever's there, who are going to run in behind, and they're going to score the goals. I'll be happy with 10 goals from him.
Rashford couldn't hit the barn door.
Yeah, I don't think he'll start on Friday. I think it'll be Garnacho and Ahmad.
Xerxes had one. Xerxes had one good season in a Bologna team who overachieved. How much did he pay for him?
Like £30 million.
No, it's not too bad. He's still youngish.
Yeah.
It's just like he's had one good season, and he didn't really get much time at the Euros either.
Yeah.
And that Euro, I bet you wish you had a way to sign him. Now he's going to be out till Christmas.
Yeah, that's a shame. but I mean, he's an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah,
you know, De Ligt is going to be the starting. Is going to be the starting centre back even when Euro's fit. Euro, we're looking for him to be the guy 2-3 years from now.
The next Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, I get that.
And I think what we're doing as well is
keep his value.
We're not anywhere near the title this season. I do think our squad's in a better place than Newcastle's and Chelsea's. I think we can be better than Spurs and Villa if we want to be.
See, I think you could have an issue where if you lose a game, if you lose a game, right, and things aren't going well. Let's say you turn up to a mid-table, bottom of the league team in a midweek game, and Rashford can't be asked, and he ain't running. And Garnacho's the only one that's doing anything. Højlund and Xerxes are both injured. Do you know what I mean? Or Xerxes just playing up front on his own. Bruno starts moaning as captain, starts moaning at everybody doing what he's done in the
That's
past.
every game.
She didn't go in like this. And that is infectious throughout your team, and it was last year. So have they done something to prevent that happening? Because once that starts to happen, you guys fall apart. And you don't do it against the big teams; you do it against the small teams. And I think, and then it just builds and builds.
I think Rashford is not undroppable this season. That's very clear, because Garnacho is just getting better every time he plays. Ahmad, again. Eric's made it clear that sort of he's expecting a lot from Ahmad this season, so I think that's the two starting wing spots sorted. Bruno, again, I agree. When things go well, he's brilliant and he can get frustrated. He's got better players around him at the minute in the attack, in my opinion, and also we've got a structure that allows us to actually create chances now.
We'll see.
Yeah. My
too cynical.
My main concern is obviously we brought in Van Nistelrooy, we brought in Renahaka, we've also brought in a Norwegian guy as a set piece coach, and they were all head coaches in their last jobs. So the issue is, come October, November, if we have a bad run, we've got ready-made replacements already in the club to take over from him, and that can derail things. And it would be a very easy win for Ineos if it was going bad, to get rid of Ten Hag and go, right, here's your new manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy. I don't think anyone would really kick off about that.
It does depend how bad it
is.
I will
disagree with you in half of what you said. I don't think you've got a better squad than Newcastle's. First team,
I think in terms of work ethic, the way the guys play together as a team, they all fight for how, that's all in evidence. It's exactly the same team, but everybody's fit.
I'd take my midfield in attack over yours. I
would have Isaac over either Højlund,
Gordon, Joel.
I would have Gordon
Bruno,
over Rashford,
Tonali.
I would have Isaac in the team, and yes, I would take your midfield as well.
And Gordon.
But apart from that, I think we've got no. I'd have Garnacho over Gordon. There's nothing wrong with Garnacho.
Our left, I think right back we've got you beat as well with both Trippier and Livramento. I think Botman's better than anybody outside of, say, Alicia, but very different types of players. Of course, he's injured at the moment, so fair enough.
Yeah. I'd probably have Pope over Anana the way he's going on.
I don't think Anana's that good. No,
I think in the end we weren't a million miles off you guys last season, and I think we've strengthened better than you guys have. That's my thinking.
It could be the case. Yeah. We're still to get to the end of the window, and we could get in another couple of players. I think if we did get Gahey and a good right mid winger, we would be a lot better. But it could all just depend on injuries and all. Again, we were both and Chelsea as well, the worst hit injury teams last year. That could have a big effect on how things go this year if it's not the case, or one of the teams gets it again.
But you got to remember, we ain't got Europe this season.
Yeah, I know
we're
that.
Just concentrating on the league now.
For us in some way, although I would rather have Europe 100%.
So, of course I would.
Just going to cover, because I'm concerned with the time that we've had, and it's our first one batting away, so it's kind of understandable. But I just want to cover kind of Dave's thoughts on Chelsea at the moment. And Chelsea have signed a lot of potentially good players when you look at it. If you to look at it in isolation, they've bought some good players, but they've also bought a hell of a lot of players that none of us just understand why. Like, they've now got goalkeepers. What are they doing? Why are they keeping buying goalkeepers? And you look at the squad, and they still haven't bought a striker, which is the one thing that they really, really needed. They haven't bought a striker. They've bought another winger, and we were looking at this graph of their squad. There's nobody up front, and then a million players in every other position, surrounding the field. It just doesn't make any sense. So Dave's point of view in this season for a Chelsea fan was shit pre-season, team look clueless, no organisation of defence. They have looked very poor defensively this season. I don't know why I've put them fourth in my thing, and I don't know what I was thinking about, to be perfectly honest with you. I think I'm just gambling at this point. I really do. I think I'm just gambling. Buy too many players, don't even know who the squad is now, etc., etc. And I can kind of agree with him that I think everybody looks at it and thinks then there's a disaster with what's going on with the sale of Gallagher. It's just a bit of it's a circus.
Well, Conor Gallagher's on his way back to London.
Yeah,
because and he's going to get made to train on his own. Captain last season and the player of the season, probably.
I think that will be revived. I think he'll end up over there because they're going to sign Joe Felix.
Yeah, I think it'll be revived. Yeah.
I think Dave summed it up.
Why are you signing Joe Felix?
Well, exactly.
You've already tried him for 6 months and he didn't do anything, so they let him go. Why would
some
you?
Sort of PSR crap for Atletico.
It's all to do with finances, and we give you some, you get some, but this counts as a profit here, so this allows us to do that there. That's what it all is. And where's the build a football team aspect there? Where's the actual?
I think Dave said it. Dave said it best. Is that we've all just sat here going, we still need this player, we still need that player, and we're all, scrolling through our phones over the course of the day, looking for some news on a player that's going to come. Yeah. Dave is scrolling through his phone over the course of the day, praying to God that Chelsea haven't signed another player. And
every morning
it really takes it really takes something special to do that to a football fan, I think, because that's part of the fun is
I'm going to read a quote for him as well. It's a last thing on this, and he did say you can also quote me on that, and this will let you know his kind of state of mind. Transfers aren't fun anymore, especially when a lot of them are meaningless to the actual squad, and obviously an attempt at selling them for profit later on, which our clubs aren't necessarily doing, but Chelsea very much are doing that. If Christmas was every day, it would lose its meaning. The only player who's slightly exciting that we've bought is Pedro Neto, and even he's injured half the season. I mean, we were all making jokes about him becoming friends with. He was already friends with Reece James. And it has come up that they were sharing treatment notes when they were out injured. You know what I mean? And it just becomes a bit of a meme at this point.
Well, look, at the end of the day, Chelsea have sorted the right-hand side of the physio room out.
Yes, I mean that's. I kind of can understand where Dave's coming from. Obviously, I don't feel like that because we went through years of just signing no one. Like I remember we would get linked with what's his name? Chowdhury.
Hamza Chowdhury.
And then
$1.5 million loan.
We'd get a message for Bruce at the end. He transferred it to go. We just couldn't get it over the line. Hey, how's the bacon? Did you say? And that's all we got for like years. And so now that we actually, we're still excited by it. But I can get where he's coming.
I mean, the thing with Chelsea and going on Dave's point is actually for all they've signed a shitload of players this summer. How many actual signings have they made that are going to go into this team? It's what Tosin at the back and Neto on the wing, and they've signed another dozen players who they're going to hope to sell on for profit. But how are they going to do that if all they're going to do is spend a season on loan at Strasbourg in France? They're not, they're not going to sell those players on for profit. You guys are looking at Madueke for your right wing. That is 100% going to be a loan deal. I think if you
loan to buy.
You're not going to spend any money on him, and he cost £40 million 18 months ago.
It's got to be similar to the whole deal, a loan with an option to buy at the end of the season if terms are met.
Yeah.
And if I was a Chelsea fan, I think.
But what's that option going to be? Because you're not going to spend more than 40 million on him, are you?
Why?
You're not going to make a profit on him.
It depends how well he plays for us.
So at this point, if you're going to do similar to Hull, where there's where he plays X amount of games and you trigger the deal, you're happy to spend more than £40 million on him at this point in time.
No, I'm not. It's not up to me to decide that.
No, but I just don't. I don't see it.
There's not been any reports yet saying exactly what they're looking for yet, I don't think. No. And there's not been any concrete approach at all. Let's just talk about that. As far as we know, there's been no concrete approach. So, we'd be doing it because Chelsea would be desperate to get rid of him because they need to make some profit or they need to get some money back for him or something like that. That's where we would be looking at it, I think. I think we will have to revise some of the stuff that we're going to talk about. I think we're going to have to leave the strips thing to next week, guys, because we're already in over 50 minutes for this episode. And we'll bring that in next week because we'll be more, rather than talking about big discussions about transfers, I think we'll be more just talking about the games that happened and how and everything that happened over the weekend. We are going to introduce a couple of things that we're going to do differently this year, though. One is we're going to have WMF's Team of the Week. So myself, Mick, Ryan and Dave will decide or pick between us the best 11 players of any match day week, so that when we come on, we'll be giving you our Team of the Week and we'll be telling you why we picked said Team of the Week as well. We'll do all our arguing about it beforehand, but we'll kind of present.
We'll argue about it during the show as well. Don't worry, we'll not let you miss that.
Just not in as much detail for as long a time. We're also going to do, and it is going to be called WMF's Moment of the Week, and producer Kel was weird about it, was kind of weirded out about this earlier on, and I was kind of with him because I don't think I was clear about what it necessarily means. But Dave and Ryan kind of put me right in terms of it is moment, because the best thing of a week could be a ball boy falling over and smashing his face off a camera, or a manager's trousers falling down or something like that get caught in camera, and that could be the moment of the week anyway. It doesn't necessarily have to be.
Do you remember?
Which was what I asked you. I asked you if it was going to be just on field or off field, so that makes it a little bit better.
Do you remember?
It was a busy day.
Newcastle against Oxford, St. Maximum. Dribble past three, smash it in the top corner, went running down towards the Newcastle fans, and it panned in on a Newcastle fan standing there, got it out and started doing a helicopter. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
That's a moment of the week.
So what you're saying is, Mick, if we had a podcast at that point, we would be putting that Twitter clip on the podcast.
Moment of the week.
Absolute things. I mean, I said that, one of mine might have been Chris Wilder moaning that a ref was eating a sandwich in front of him. That's
but that's because that's part of football for us. It's the weird things that people say in the interviews afterwards or something like that. We all watch the game and go, oh well, that's the way the game went, and then the manager comes out and says something bizarre afterwards, and that becomes the moment of the week. Sometimes that's just how.
I mean, that was what we did basically for the first ever episode. We had Arteta's rant against Newcastle, didn't we?
Exactly. That was our first ever episode, and look at the kind of drama that spawned an entire podcast. Look at that.
Well, I'm not being funny, but they still cry about that now.
They absolutely do. So that's what we're going to do every week. We are going to go back to our predictions again, but I'm just going to detail the rules up front this time so everybody's clear. Dave knows about this anyway. So we are predicting each match day again as it comes, and we're doing a league table, but it's 3 points if you get the correct result and scoreline. It's 1 point if you get just the correct result, and if you don't get the correct result, then you get absolutely bugger all. Very simple rules.
Obviously,
I've got a super duper card.
Yeah, no, and I get at 2 points of the season in my choosing. I get my score quadrupled to cover my COVID losses that only I had and no other club has had.
Yeah, only Man United are allowed that special dispensation for only Man United to get that. Sorry, but it's just the rules. That's just how it works. Just like real life. Kel's joining us this year. He can bring up our predictions for the league games that are coming up. I'm sure you know.
We've assigned Kyle the orange background on the predictions. Are we going to have to change it to red to reflect his newfound love of Arsenal? Or
I think that should be done. I think that should absolutely be done. He's an Arsenal stooge now.
He's an absolute ultra. He's going to be down AFTV at the weekend.
I'm going down to my. There it is. I'm going down to my local cannon store to pick up a big cannon later on. You guys got those over there in the UK.
Oh yeah,
right?
Cannon stores. Isn't that just like all stores, or just like cannon stores?
I mean, I do that when you
could just go into your local 7-Eleven.
Just go down to Walmart. Just sitting in a car park.
A Gatling gun or something like that.
Yeah.
Or
gonna go down to the shop for some.
For it, you could just pick up an Ape's tank.
Just on a funny story. We were coming back from visiting family in Tennessee, and the hotel that we stayed at, there must have been either an exhibition or some sort of reenactment going on, because there was a cannon in the parking lot. attached to a trailer at the hotel. But those are very common, especially in Tennessee, Virginia area. Lots of Civil War battles there, so reenactment.
Yeah, it makes sense.
We
course.
at the weekend we took the kids to Fort Nelson, which is one of 5 forts that were built in the 1800s on Portsdown Hill, which overlooks Portsmouth Harbour, which is where all the Navy vessels were built. And they're 5 masterful feats of engineering and state-of-the-art defences for the 1800s to protect against a French invasion that never happened.
Yeah, but you never know. I mean, to be
you
fair,
never know.
in the 1800s,
Maybe that's why they never happened.
If you look at who have we fought the most, France would have been number one at that point.
France
you know,
always just
who would have known we became their friends? You know,
they're always just
or America. That would be our other enemy.
They're always looking for whenever you're at your weakest, like old William came over in 1066 after a few decades of the Vikings and the Danes, messing around over there for a bit. So just make sure you guys
never trust the French.
Was reading on one of the information plats. Basically, these things took 10 years to build, and over the course of that 10 years, France had gone to war with Prussia and had their asses handed to them. So by the time they were built, it was already no, the French aren't coming. Right.
But anyways, all right, thanks for watching. Watch more football. We'll see you next week.
We've also had a
more
history
football.
lesson as well. But history is tied to football because when Portsmouth were building those forts, they also had a football team at the time that the people would go and watch because most of their teams did begin in the 1800s. So football really is that old when it comes to Britain anyway. The teams in Britain. So we might cover the strips and stuff next week. Sorry, Rich, we just ran out of time this week. But other than that, we will be back next week and we'll have some games to discuss. Watch the Premier League games over the weekend. Let us know what you think. And also, if you want to join in and you want to be in our league, as long as you post or comment on YouTube with your league predictions each week, we'll add you in. But if you miss a week, you miss a week.
We are also running a Watch More Football Fantasy Football League as well.
Good point.
For which I will have Kyle put a link to in the description because this is the first Kyle is hearing about it. But please do join that. I think
I don't play fantasy football, but I think there's who's on it? You, Ryan, Mick, and Dave are on it, aren't you?
Yeah. But
there's only us two, isn't it?
I won't do it. Do it. But it's not my thing, fantasy football. But you viewers, feel free to join in with that. Absolutely. Yeah. All right.
Good stuff.
Nothing else to say, guys. We'll say bye-bye then.
All right.
See you next week.
Cheers, lads.